Hi, this is Monica Louie from ourdebtfreefamily.com, and I have a wonderful interview to share with you today. I interviewed Christine Odell from ChristineOdell.com, and she and her husband paid off $500,000 worth of debt, and today they have achieved complete financial freedom. So, watch the interview to learn how they did it, how long it took them, and where they are today. Thank you, Christine, for joining me today. Why don't you start off by telling everyone a little about yourself?
Okay, well, I live in a little town called Norway, Colorado. I'm 400 miles from everything. The town is 400 people, so it's easy to keep that number straight. I have been a financial coach for 15 years. I live with my husband and my two dogs and a cat that nobody seems to like very much, but we feed him anyway. Let's see, we don't have any kids. We thought we were going to sign up for them, so we built a really big house thinking that we would get a lot of kids, and we didn't get any. So that's kind of part of the story. And we run three regular businesses and two kind of startups that haven't really started up yet, businesses out of this office.
Wow.
One is an electrical contracting business, one's my financial coaching, speaking business, and one is a property management company. And then I have a small company that teaches kids about math. It's called Math and Money, and it teaches kids about personal finance within a school curriculum, follows STEM and core. And then I was going to be a financial advisor, but I kind of decided not to. So that business is kind of sitting there thinking what it might do someday. So that's me in a nutshell.
Nice. Well, I'm happy to have you here. I know you have a great debt-free story, and I love sharing those because they're so inspiring. And so I'd love to hear what made you and your husband decide to become debt-free. How did you get started? What was the turning point?
Well, the turning point was in August of 2001. We've been married almost 4 years, and my husband saw this crazy little round bald guy named Dave Ramsey on CNN. And this was before people were actually internet literate. So my husband came to me with a little scrap of paper. It said www.davr and a scribble dot and another scribble, because he didn't get the three W's and the .com. But he threw this little piece of paper at me and he said, I just watched this guy on TV and he makes sense about money and you don't. So that was a little shock to my system. And I was thinking, wait a minute, I have a degree in business. I have a degree in math. I've been in banking for years. I've been managing small businesses for years. And what are you saying? He said, well, I don't know what's really going with the finances, but I think I should be scared. And I don't think you really know what we're doing. And so I want you to kind of figure it out. So I spent a day learning about what Dave Ramsey was teaching. Went to Phoenix 2 months later and saw him live. And I was actually the reluctant spouse. Imagine myself dragging myself through the parking lot, not really wanting to go inside, because I kind of felt like I was going to get shocked with something that I didn't want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband didn't even come with me. He's the one dragging me imaginarily inside. And actually thoroughly enjoyed the presentation and stayed after and talked to Dave that day and met some of his staff that day and said, you know what? My husband's right. I have no clue what I'm doing here. I have been trained by banks to be in debt. So I went home and I tallied it up and we were $500,000 plus in debt. And, you know, we were making our payments, so I thought it was okay. It was fine. We were making a lot more than either one of us had ever made because we were self-employed and doing really well. And I thought it was fine, but you know what? It wasn't fine. Anytime you're running around with $500,000 in debt, it should scare you. And so we just said, okay, we're going to do this thing. We got on a plan. And one of the things that really stuck with us is Dave Ramsey said the average American lives on $40,000 a year. And so that's how we built our budget. We said, if the average American can do it, we are average American people. We're going to build our household budget on $40,000 a year. And then everything extra that we make will go to the debt. And so that's pretty much how we did it.
Wow. So what did that 500,000 comprise of?
Well, I can't even tell you because, well, I can't tell you. The 50,000 of it for the most part was an old student loan, a car loan, a truck loan, some credit cards that we thought we had to keep a balance to maintain our credit score. You've heard that one. I had an old consolidation loan. And then just a bunch of little tiny credit cards that we were keeping balances on because that's how you build your credit, right? That's the myth. And then the other $450,000 was a remodel on our house. We built, we took a double wide modular and we added, I should know this over my head. We added 1,800 square feet, scrapped the entire inside, scrapped the outside, basically built a new house. Took a 3-bedroom, 2-bath and made it a 4-bedroom, 3-bath and said, okay, we're ready for kids. And then we never had any kids. So that's kind of was our initial plan. We'll remodel the house so we'll be ready for kids. So that was $500,000. And then our neighbor next door had 5 acres and we had 3 acres, and she had a double wide trailer. And I made some wise remarks one day that said that, hey, if you ever decide to move, we'll buy your house at today's market, which was at the time was 140. Well, when she decided to move, the house was worth 90. But we had already had that verbal contract. Mm-hmm. And as people that stay by our word, we paid 140 for it. And then we bought another property too that was, by the time it was all said and done, the total was $450,000 in real estate.
Okay.
So the first year was pretty, we had, like I said, we had a big income. So the first year was easy. We paid off all the consumer debt, and then we really hammered at the real estate debt.
So you were self-employed. You had businesses, so you were bringing in good money. So about how much was your income at that time? Do you mind sharing?
It would vary because of self-employment status. My husband's a master electrician. We have an electrical contracting business, and then I was a professional bookkeeper at the time. And so it would vary somewhere depending on the market and what was happening in the resort community between $70,000 and $200,000. Okay. $200,000 was the best year in that time. And so, if you're living on $40,000, you can take after taxes that other amount and just really hammer your debt. And that's what we did.
That's amazing. So you used $40,000 to budget to create your household budget, and then everything else went towards the debt. So then how long did it take you to become completely debt-free? Because today it's all paid off. Is that correct?
Today it's all paid off. So we actually started in October after I went to Dave Ramsey's event. We started October 2001 and we paid off our house in April of 2009.
Wow. So what did you do to celebrate?
Nothing.
Nothing?
It was actually kind of one of those funny conversations because if you're following a really good financial plan, you have a big emergency fund and then you're paying off the house, right? So we, as self-employed people, put a year's worth of income into an emergency fund. So we figured on a low year, $70,000 year minus taxes, that would be a $60,000 amount that we would want for emergency fund. And then the market started tanking, and I looked at my husband and I said, well, we owe $30,000 on the house, and half of that emergency fund is for house payments. So why don't we just take half of the emergency fund and pay off the house? And it was kind of idiot proof. We both looked at each other and said, yeah, that's pretty dumb. Yeah, let's just pay off the house. And so that's kind of what we did. And it really wasn't a celebration because right after that happened, the market in our neighborhood really did crash. Everybody else's market crashed in 2008. Ours crashed in 2009. Telluride, Colorado is 2 to 3 years behind the rest of the world, always. And so ours crashed in 2009. We had 3 signed contracts for really nice homes in Telluride, and the market's crashing. And each of those owners came to us and said, I don't think we're going to build this year. And the contracts were totaling $600,000. So we looked at our staff. We had 5 electricians, including my husband. We looked at our staff and we said, well, we can make it. We have no debt. So we looked at them all and we said, well, we could lay one of you off, but what we've decided to do is lay off my husband.
Lay off what?
We laid off my husband, the owner of the company. Okay. And so we stopped taking a salary for 2 years from the company rather than laying off our employees.
Wow.
And so, you think, okay, what's the celebration? Well, the celebration is we get to save jobs for our team, and they're good friends of ours. Mm-hmm. We live in a small town. We've known them forever, and we were able to say, guess what? We don't have to lay you off. We'll take the ding on this one. And we earn endless loyalty. They stayed with us through the entire downturn. They never asked for a thing. They never said, oh, hey, I get my paid vacation. They never once asked for that. They didn't ask for any benefits. some of the benefits we were offering, like free gas for their personal vehicles, kind of ended, and they never complained. They were phenomenal, and it was just tremendous loyalty. So when the market picked back up, we didn't have to restaff. We had staff.
Wow.
So that was pretty exciting. And then a month after that happened, Dave Ramsey's office called me again, and they said, we have a job for you 400 miles from where you live. Do you want it? And I said, oh, yeah, sure. And then they said, well, do you want to know what it is? I'm like, I figured if you were hiring me, I'd take it. What is it? And so I actually ended up working for a steel manufacturing plant as their financial coach. The contract that they had with Dave Ramsey ended 2 years later, and I'm still working for them 7 years later.
Wow.
So everything just, we had no debt. We could make those really big decisions on saying which way do we want to weave and bob. But when you have debt, how do you make those decisions? You can't.
That's incredible.
So we didn't really celebrate. I never did a Dave Ramsey debt-free scream, to be very honest.
So to look at the other side, if you had not made that change in 2001, 2009 would have been a very different year for you.
It would have been disastrous for us and our team. It would have been completely disastrous for our, basically, we call our team our family. It would have been completely disastrous for all of us. So I don't even like to think about it.
Right.
It's scary.
Well,
And I learned a ton along the way. I mean, I've been a financial coach ever since, and I've learned a ton along the way, and I can really help people. But one of the things that I never used to tell my story. I never used to tell anybody what happened. In fact, I had a client, she's a nutritionist, and I was doing her bookkeeping, and I started coaching her a little, and one day she looked at me, she's like, yeah, that's all fine and good if I was perfect like you. And it was just a real eye-opener. I'm like, wait a minute, why do you think that? She's like, well, you've never done anything wrong with money. I'm like, oh, I'm totally lying to you people. So I actually stopped and I said, you know what? I need to start telling people what we did because we weren't doing it right.
But you changed your ways and look at what that's allowed for you. And
yeah, we changed our ways and we teach people and we help people, and it's just been really awesome.
So you cut your spending to live on a $40,000 income or budget. And so what strategies did you use for cutting your spending? And did you had the businesses. So did you have any strategies for bringing in extra income outside of the businesses, or just really promoting on boosting revenue within the businesses?
Well, we just got really intentional. I learned how to budget for a business because most businesses have no clue how to budget. They don't even know how to look at their financial statements. And I talk to people all the time now. They're like, what's a financial statement? I'm like, really? You don't even know your financial statements? And so what we did is we took everything we were doing personal and applied it to the business too. So the business didn't take on any new debt. And that $500,000, the truck was a business debt, and some of the credit cards were business debts. We inherited the business from John's parents, so we didn't have business debt from building the business, but we had some debts within the business, if that makes sense. But we learned how to build a budget, and we learned how to, what I call weaving and bobbing. When we took over the business, we were paying $20,000 a year in liability insurance, and over the next several years, we were able to whittle that down by saying, wait a minute, you're covering us for stuff that would never even happen to us. Or saying, let's take the base policy down and then put an umbrella policy over the top of it, and that saved us thousands of dollars. One of the main things we did is we never used a debit card, which is kind of a long story in a way, but I realized that debit cards were not something people track anymore. We just swipe and then look and see if there's enough money in the account. We don't ever say, oh, I put $100 in that budget and I need to stick under that $100. And so we never use a debit card at all. We use a ton of paper money for all the businesses. And I've actually gone and I actually called my CPA and I'm like, okay, is this a huge red flag to use paper money in my business? And he said, no, the IRS looks at cash as cash. And I said, oh, so my checking account and my petty cash, they're not going to look at and say that, why do you have $3,000 in petty cash and why do you have $5,000 in the checking account? And I said, no, it's $8,000. Cash is cash. And so that was a big point for us. So now when we go to the supply store, we take paper money with us. We just got really intentional with that. Personally, I don't ever use debit cards. I have one for every business. I use my debit card for putting money in the bank, and then I take money out of the bank in cash. I never, ever, ever swipe at a store. And that's a huge thing. And we don't swipe with credit cards either. So anytime there's a cash register, they will get paper money. And that's been really huge for us. And it was kind of one of the things that we drug our feet on. We're like, oh, we can pay off our credit card every month. It's not a big deal. You know, if we've got it in the budget, we can pay it off every month. We live in a town of 400 people. We're 65 miles one way from the grocery store. And Home Depot, and Walmart, and McDonald's. And so it's a big monthly trip. We go to the grocery store and Walmart and Home Depot, which is this Saturday. Every single time we would go, we would take the credit card and I would tally it all up and we'd spend $1,500. Then we switched and I said, okay, no more credit card, no more swiping. Let's take paper money. The first time we did that, the very, very first time, I took $1,500 bills. How much money did I come home with? Any idea?
I'm thinking maybe 1,000.
No, I mean, we have our list. It's a month worth of shopping. Which, even on my best month, I'm not quite that good yet. But the very, very first month was it was a $1,200 ticket. And I was standing there so the grocery store is the last stop because you got to get your produce home. And I was standing there at the cash register and I was looking in my wallet and I'm like, something's wrong. And John looked at me and he's like, what's wrong? And I said, well, give me the list. We missed something. He said, what do you mean we missed something? And I said, well, I have $300 left in the wallet and it shouldn't be here. We've missed something. Let's go down through the list before we drive over the pass. And we went down the list and we hit everything. But we didn't overspend. And then so the next time I was like, okay, we can do it for $1,200. So fancy pants me took only $1,200 and I'm standing in the grocery store and my husband's down the hallway. And I'm like, John, get back here. And he's like, what's wrong? I'm like, give me what's in your pocket. We were short. But not so short that we were putting stuff back, but I was at the end of the $1,200. We'd hit it almost perfectly. But guess what we did? We still saved $300 that time. And now our trips are $900. So let's do the math. $1,500 minus $900 is $600 a month I get to keep for not swiping and overspending. So 600 times 12 is $7,200.
Okay.
Use your calculator. Guess what we do with that money now?
Do you save that for vacation? What do you do?
Awesome trips.
Awesome.
So just switching from not swiping and switching to using paper money and being very, very intentional, we've been able to incorporate really nice vacations. In fact, we're kind of planning Christmas now. We're thinking we're taking 2 whole weeks off and spending it on the beach.
Very nice.
And it's just, like I said, it's just turning from being unintentional with your money to being very, very intentional with your money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's by being very, very intentional, we've been able to really grow our money. And, you know, I can't even say that we make more than we did back then. At times it feels like we make more because we have very few expenses now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, once you build your house and decorate your house, you don't need to buy decorations over and over and over again. You're done.
And so you have more to enjoy, more to save. And that's one thing that motivates us is because we are working on paying off our mortgage, which is our final debt. And the thing that switched it for me was thinking about, well, what if we didn't have to make those payments? What could we do with that money that we're paying toward, you know, debt every month? So that's exciting for us. Someday we'll be there, just as you are.
And that's what I always tell people, so you have an emergency fund, you have your checking account, you have your cash envelopes, and then you have what I call a sinking fund. And every month you make a payment to that fund for those things that you want to do with that money that you're not sending to the bank anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have auto drafts that hits my personal account, my business, but all of my business accounts, auto drafts go straight to savings, and they have plans for them. So one of the things, when I took this job up in Utah, they pay me mileage for going all the way up there and all the way back. They would pay my plane ticket, but I prefer to drive. And that mileage check tends to be around $500 or $600 a month. So that money goes directly into a savings account for the next car that I want to buy. It's what a normal car payment is, right?
Right.
So it's really not a big deal. It just goes in there automatically. Well, I hit the goal a couple months ago. The account hit $25,000, and that was the goal because I figured my car is probably going to be worth about $7,000 when I'm done with it, and $25,000. That's a $32,000 car. I'm going to walk in and write them a check.
Wonderful.
But actually, the car I'm driving now is a $32,000 car, and I wrote a check for $24,000, and it was brand new. So the negotiating ability of having cash is also significant. And what I did was I just did my research. I found out that the car I had now, the lot had to have it off. The dealer had to have it off by February of the year after. So it's in 11, but I bought it in 12. If they didn't sell it by the last day of February, they'd lose their 5-star rating. And I found that on the internet. So I watched the car and watched the car. I'm like, yep, that's the one I want. That's the one I want. And the dealer's 2.5 hours away. So I wrote my check before I left home. And I went to the dealer and I put my check on the counter and I said, here's my money and I want that one. And he looked at me and laughed at me and I said, oh, okay, I don't have to do business here. I'll see you later. And he said, no, I don't understand. What are you doing? That's a $32,000 car. And I said, yeah, I know. But you have 3 days to get it off the lot and I have money. And he just looked at me and he said, I'll be right back. And I'm like, where are you going? He said, I think I need approval from the boss before I can really do this, but I think it's a done deal. And so he went to the boss and he came back and he said, when do you want to pick it up? He took my $24,000 for a $32,000 car.
That's great.
So I'm overfunded now for my new car. So I'm thinking Porsche. But it's just, like I said, but if you walk in, how much down and how much a month, you don't have that negotiating power. You just can't do it. But when you walk in with paper money or a check and you say, this is my money and I'm ready to buy, then people look at you differently and they'll negotiate with you. And it was kind of funny because I was like, I said, that car has 2 things I need that aren't on there. And he looked at me funny and I said, I need a GPS and I want a trailer hitch on it. And he said, well, I can't give you that kind of deal. And I said, I realize that, but I also know what they cost. I will pay you retail for those so you can make a little bit of a profit. And then we both feel good. And so the next couple days later, I went back with my $800 extra and paid them for my things that I wanted. So
very nice.
And it wasn't, it works. I have clients that do it all the time.
It's wonderful. So what advice would you give to someone who is just starting their debt-free journey or thinking about that they need to take control of their debt? What would you tell them?
I would say the number one thing to do is don't look back and beat yourself up. Don't say, I was bad, I was horrible, I did it all wrong. No, you didn't. You were just living, and you were living the way we think we're supposed to live. You didn't do anything wrong. You've just decided that you don't want to participate in that any longer. And so I would say don't look back and beat yourself up. Look back and learn. What did you do that you don't want to do now? And make steps to make those changes. And then I would also say get somebody that can help you and that can encourage you and that can give you new ideas. So when, a lot of times I sit with, like I had a client today that I sat with and he was like, I'm in school and the only way for me to get done with this program sooner than later is to take out student loans. And I said, are you sure? And he said, okay, my ears are open. And we actually stepped through how he could actually probably get enough scholarships to pay the rest of it off because the field he is in is a huge demand right now. And so we just kind of stepped through on where to find scholarships. And he's like, where were you when I started school? It was just a different way to look at it. And then we went back to the budget and we looked at, okay, what can we cut between now and when you get out of school? Because when you get out of school, it's likely you're going to have a $50,000 to $80,000 income. But let's not go deeply in debt to get there. Let's, when we get there, have no debt. And then you can do all those other things that you want to do. So don't beat yourself up on where you were. It's kind of counterproductive. It doesn't help at all. It's like beating yourself if you're short and round like I am. You can beat yourself up all day, but what it will do is it will cripple you. So you just want to say, okay, here's where I am, and here's where I want to be, and what are going to be my steps to get there. So enlist in help. Read blogs, listen to podcasts, listen to people that have done it, listen to how they failed, and use that to encourage you. I always go back and I'm like, oh, I wasn't that bad. Cool, I'm good. So, if my story helps you, then do that. I got a coach. I got coached once, 1 2-hour coaching session, and it was pivotal to me because he looked at me and he's like, you make a lot of money and you can be really smart with it or really stupid with it. What do you want to do? And to me, that was enough. Okay, I want to be really smart with it. I want to change how we live. And that's what we did.
Wonderful. So what is the best part of your debt-free journey?
Being debt-free. Actually, the best part of it for me was learning to give. The best part of it, because we're not evangelical Christian, we don't go to church. I learned about the meaning of tithing and how it became very important in our lives. And we actually found out the more we gave away, the more we got, which was, okay, that's not the way you're supposed to look at it. You're supposed to look at, we're not giving it away in order to receive, but it taught us about how it's not all our money. And if we can freely give it away, we should. And if it doesn't implode, I don't know if this is a Christian type side or not, but I would just say that I look at the Bible for a lot of help. And the Bible says in 1 Timothy, it says, he who does not take care of his own family is worse than an unbeliever. So we looked at that and we said, okay, we'll take care of our core family. We found out what it takes to do that. And then when we're debt free, we can give a ton of it away and help others. So then we looked at our family members, immediate family, and then we looked at our core friends and our community and looked at places where we could give. When we started with a basis of 10%, and it's somewhere around 20 or 25% now. We just, we're kind of maniacs about it. But it doesn't implode what we're doing financially. Because we're taking care of the core ourselves, and that's our team. We pay them well, give them lots of benefits, and then we look into our community and we support a lot of the things that go on in our community. And so I would say the best part of being debt-free is having that freedom to be able to give to others.
I think that's a beautiful answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, Christine, where can people learn more about you?
You can go to my website, christineodle.com. You'll get directed to my business site, which is rockandbb.com, but it's easier, christineodle.com. And you can read about my story there, and I have some funnies on the About page, kind of some goofy things about my life that have kind of catapulted me in this direction, and see the services that I offer. Or it's also a great place. There's a free place to schedule. If you just want to talk to me, you have a 15-minute question, the place where you can schedule a 15-minute call for free and just hop on there and schedule a time. I'd love to talk to you.
Wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share?
Just want to thank you for letting me be on the show with you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. This was wonderful. I think your story is going to inspire a lot of people. It is possible.
It is. It's totally possible. And that's the thing. I mean, I've sat down with some people that are not high income earners and actually shown them how they can be multimillionaires. And they just kind of look at me. I'm like, hey, it's the computer telling you the numbers. It's not me. But just by getting in control of your money, you can do anything.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, Monica.
I hope you enjoyed that interview with Christine Odle from christineodle.com about how she and her husband achieved true financial freedom. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you learned from Christine and her story of achieving true financial freedom and paying off $500,000 of debt. If you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I would be honored if you would share this with your friends. And I invite you to join me in our private Facebook group called Your Debt Freedom Family. And we've got an awesome community of people who are kicking debt to the curb so they can break free and live life on their terms. Just head over to ourdebtfreefamily.com/yourfamily to join. I'd love to see you there. Remember, keep moving forward toward your goals. You really can live the life that you dream about. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.